Good evening. Welcome to Right Talk with Mike Lee. My guest this evening is Chikki Chikkerur. Roar.
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 Yes,
Chikkerur.
exactly. Chicken roar.
Okay.
Nice. Thank you for
she
having
is
me.
a person who is she's running for state rep in District 48
As an independent candidate, yes.
as an independent, not aligned with either of the political parties that pretend to do something. And I'm glad to have her on the show. And could you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, certainly. I was born and raised in India. I came to the U.S. July 7, 2003, with $95 in my pocket, with a scholarship to attend the New York Film Academy. Couldn't make ends meet, so I decided to work for a finance company, and then I started an oil company. Moved to Austin, Texas, and I was very excited to be here.
How long you been here?
In Texas since 2010.
No, in Austin.
In 2010.
2010.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
I got here in 2012.
2012. Okay.
To Austin, anyway.
Yeah, this state has previously been very good to me, and I think in the future it'll be good to me as well.
Oh, yeah.
My only little grievance is the family court system and how that is affecting several hundreds and hundreds of families.
So you're not the only one who has a grievance.
Absolutely not. I actually represent I'm a voice for those families who have actually encouraged me to run for office.
Oh, yeah. And how many of such families have you run into in Austin about?
I have a database of about 35 to 40, and I have worked with other partners who have their own nonprofits, about 120, anywhere from 120 to 145 families.
Okay, because Rhonda Finney has an organization
Yes.
that I would
I think
think
I may
that you
have.
would be in touch with. And then there's Sherry and Ron Palmer.
I haven't heard
They
of
have,
them.
this is it's the Family Law Center.
Mm-hmm.
They're like nationwide.
I see.
But I met them through Ron.
Yes. I know of them.
I've had them on the show.
Oh, I see. Wonderful. Yeah.
I'm trying to reach out and do some things and
Well,
try to
you're
make some positive change.
you're a different kind of family lawyer. Usually, it doesn't benefit you to help, reduce litigation. Most family lawyers like to increase and exasperate litigation, so it increases the lawyer bills.
Well,
So what's your why is my question.
no, I didn't want to become a lawyer to get rich.
Yeah.
I wanted to become a lawyer to help at least one person. That way my life will have been worth living, I guess.
That's wonderful.
To the guy upstairs.
Absolutely.
That's who I work
Guy
for.
or gal upstairs.
He pays me every day.
Yeah.
When I wake up, I got paid.
Absolutely. When the sun shines, you get paid.
Yep.
How much you gonna pay for that?
Yep. I know I have my minister. He says, people say the alarm clock will come up. He says, you think if you believe that, take that alarm clock over to the cemetery and let it ring and see if anybody gets up.
That's funny.
If you think the alarm clock will woke you
Yeah,
up.
they're like, we're happier in the afterworld. We don't want to deal with the troubles and trauma of the world today. There are things changing. We're a very educated country, and we are on par, men and women, and we are a very family-oriented society, which is why it was very shocking for me to experience the Cirque du Soleil, if you will, in family court. And as a result of that, I'm a curious person, and I've always been in philanthropy, try to help other people. I started going to different courtrooms and observing, monitoring what's happening in different courtrooms. I decided to represent myself pro se. That's when things got really bad. In fact, there's a very funny story where a county court judge actually, without any, a county court judge actually slapped a GPS ankle monitor on me, on my leg in 2017.
In connection with your case?
Yes, sir, based on false allegations. And I had two choices, like in the Matrix, the red pill or the blue pill. Which one? Should I just go under the table, under the rock? Because everybody in my family was shocked, surprised. taken aback. Something like this has never happened in our family. Either I do that, I went into deep depression, or, if I had a sign, got the universal sign, and someone asked me to participate in the Miss World pageant representing my country, India, with that GPS ankle monitor on my leg. And I decided to do that. I decided to not hide behind false allegations, and I decided to come out in the open and speak about it. Yeah.
In what I've read, had the opportunity to read, you described yourself as a healing single mother.
Yes, sir.
Why did you say that? Why did you say that?
Anytime a good mother is separated from her children, there's pain. The pain is really, really deep. And this is a pain that is, I thought I was the only one singled out, but it is not so. I have a database of several hundred families. I help certain of those families as well through my nonprofit, which I don't run anymore, called Pro Se Court Support, providing them emotional support, no legal advice, because that would be bariatry, right? That would be
unauthorized practice of law.
Absolutely. So did not do that, but provided emotional support and court support and things like that. And, told them how to read the Texas Family Code, how to deduce what is the TRCP, how to understand the local rules. A lot of people thought I was an attorney, and at one point I did think about going to, law school, but I don't want to be part of the system. What I want to do now is provide a solution. For the first 6 months, I was so shocked that I actually questioned the system. I questioned certain judges, filed motions to disqualify and recuse judges, but nothing happened.
Pro se?
Pro se, yes, sir.
You
Yeah.
probably had a special hate for you. Because in my experience, and which is considerable,
Yeah.
I started practicing law
Mm-hmm.
probably illegally when I was 22, 23 years old.
Oh, my goodness. Should you say that on television?
No, they can't do anything to me.
Yeah.
That's long gone.
Yeah.
But I tried my first case. I was still in law school, and I worked in law offices during my last 2 years of law school. So I was doing things
Yeah.
that I probably wasn't supposed to be doing, but I was doing them.
Yeah. I didn't do any of that. I have the constitutional right to represent myself
Yeah.
and represent my children. And in fact, the judge who was, a special assigned to my case, she herself said that I'm articulate, I'm intelligent, but really what's happening, unfortunately, in our court system today is our very pillar of society, that is family, is being destroyed in the name of money. It's, sorry to say this, as attorneys, attorneys in family law benefit. The more hostility is created in the case, the more benefit and more legal bills.
The more motions they get to file, the more time they get to take.
Absolutely.
And they just run the meter.
Yeah. And I'm a healing mother because I get to see my children once in 2 weeks on a supervised visit, which I have to pay for.
Now?
Yes, sir.
Now?
Yes, sir. Yes. Yes. And I know several mothers and fathers who are going through the same thing. So I asked myself a big question. I said, what should I do here? Because my children are okay, but there are children who are in really bad situations. I don't know if I can say this, but judges are handing over children who are being abused back to the abusers, And that is something that once I opened the door and I saw it, I went into deep depression and I said, now what do I do? Do I just turn my head and walk away? Or do I do what little I can? So I think my number one platform and my concern running as an independent candidate for state representative is reorganization of the judicial system. We need to limit the terms for the judges. I absolutely believe that. And I think these closed room trials where the jury is not present, unethical judges and attorneys. I think the legal community needs to be answerable now. to our people.
Needs to be held accountable.
Because at the end of the day, doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. If your child is taken away from you, you are not a fully functional citizen. You cannot contribute to society. You are a burden to yourself and to others. You're going through deep emotional pain. And just imagine what is happening to the children. This is the next wave, the future generation that is damaged. They are filled with trauma. And this is what we are going to provide our children and our grandchildren. We are going to destroy our planet.
I have had a few women on my show who,
Yes, sir.
who in their experience with family court, they were essentially money whipped.
Mm-hmm.
The one who's able to and paid the most money
Yep.
got what they wanted.
Yep.
That suggests that justice is for sale.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a few of the judges and the few members of the legal community are for sale. Yeah, that's the truth. And, you know, what better way to effect a change? It has to happen at the legislative level. And if you see 60 to 75% of all legislators are people at the Capitol, whether here locally or at the White House, they're lawyers. So lawyers are writing bills for lawyers that benefit lawyers.
I made that discovery when I was in third grade. I learned that at that point in third grade, that would have been 1960.
Yeah.
I learned that 80% of the guys who were congressmen were lawyers.
Yes.
And so, since I couldn't be an astronaut and be the first person on the moon, not the first black person, I wanted to be the first person there.
Mm-hmm.
They probably could have left me for all I care.
Yeah.
But that's what I want, other than being unable to be in the first person on the moon. Astronaut was the outside. I wanted to be a lawyer because I liked Barry Mason. It never occurred to me that he was a white guy. You know, just on the screen doing what he wanted to do. I say, that looks like fun. I could probably do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I kind of got the idea. And so I grew up with that idea when I was 13. They thought I was crazy, wanting to be a lawyer. I went from my neighborhood to be a lawyer to my knowledge. Didn't have anything to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do what I wanted to do, play baseball, basketball, and do what I want.
Yeah.
Because it's a relatively free country to a large degree.
Relatively, and I
but
think
not totally.
But I think people are waking up.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the year. I've spoken to several of my peers who are running as independents in different states for both for state office as well as congressional, and I think people are tired. We are giving our power, our money in the hands of a few people who make promises that they cannot keep. It's as simple as that. So we need normal people. We need more women. We need more people of color. We need more people who are, of different diversities in office. Because if you ever seen that show, what's that show? It's called Undercover CEO.
No.
Where the CEO of a major corporation like Costco or one of those companies disguises themselves as a normal worker, as a laborer or a somebody working in the manufacturing plant, and they go through the entire process and they observe firsthand what are the pain points of the business. Now, that's really what we need to do in politics too, is we don't want a career politician, a trust fund baby who's going to take PAC funds or, big corporation money, and people who have never really don't know what the normal person is going through running for office, because no matter what they say or how eloquently they speak, at the end of the day, they just don't know. They don't know what are the pain points. So we need school teachers. We need normal people running for office. But the barriers to entry to run for office as an independent are really high. A Texas state representative gets paid $34,000 a year. That is not something that an individual can survive on, especially in a city like Austin, right? Mm-hmm. So only when you're if you're really wealthy or a career politician can you actually run for office. I'm neither.
Well, I don't think that politics, as designed by the founding fathers, was supposed to be a career. It's supposed to be a service, so to speak.
Yeah, you're supposed to be a servant leader, and you're supposed to listen to the voices of the people, be involved, and provide a service, to your community. Not line your own pockets. But unfortunately, that's how it's been so far. However, I believe that things are changing. And one of the interesting campaign projects that I'm doing is with a gentleman who has started it's a very open platform called One Voice Now. It's a voting system using our existing infrastructure and at the local level, like a public studio like this, and calling, and there's let's say you have an issue with something, right? I don't know. Give me an issue in your neighborhood, some issue.
In my neighborhood?
Yeah, anything that's bothering you in your neighborhood.
Well, judges always bother me.
Okay, so you want to?
They always bother me.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
we have the same type training. So when they do something that's a little bit askew, I'm like,
Yeah.
really, you really going to do that? You really said that? What about this?
So let's assume you're saying judges need to go through a much more rigorous education process or training process or something
I think they need to be
accountable.
put in touch with normal people and learn to what they feel like, what they do, what they think,
Right.
and how they feel.
Right. Because they have a
And how
very
they feel about their children, most of all.
yeah.
Because in my experience,
Yeah.
family law judges seem to me a little bit detached from reality.
Yeah. That's funny you said that because one of my
I mean,
Yeah.
they seem like
yeah.
it's like they're out of touch with reality.
I think what it is it's not that they're out of touch with reality. If you follow the money, it's really about the money.
That's what have you met Rhonda Finney?
I have heard of her, yes.
You guys need to meet. You all of you, Rhonda and you and other people who are concerned in this area need to meet. Rhonda has a lot of contacts with you guys. Need to be working together, because what I've suggested to Cynthia and Jennifer on my show last week, and Rhonda, I say what you can complain all you want,
Yeah.
but I say what needs to happen is you guys need to pick out one judge and pick them off. Just knock one of them off. They'll send a message to the rest of them. Just single out one, pick them off. I don't care what party it is, pick them off. That's how you send a message.
Right.
Because politicians really care about winning and losing.
Right.
And it's not about really doing anything for the people.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons we have the president that we have. And I think that's one of the reasons that Bernie is so popular. Is because the politics in the nation, to me, you have the establishment, which has a Democratic wing and a Republican wing, and they really don't want to solve problems. Because problems are solved, they're out of business. So it's in their best interest not to solve the problem.
It's like family law. If every case goes through ADR, mediation, as it's supposed to in the divorce decree, then there's no lawyer bills. On average, a family law attorney wants to make about $78,000 per case. And this is not a wealthy family. It's not a high net worth family. It's a middle class family. So I'm in agreement with that. And I think from my perspective, my platform, my team and I, the way we work is, yes, we have to expose, what's going on with the judicial bias, judicial misconduct, what's happening in family court. But in addition to that, there are other issues that I'm also very passionate about. We not just expose, but we provide a solution. And one of those solutions is, this is a new project that I've taken on. It's not on my website yet. It's called OVN. It's called One Voice Now. It is a system that is similar to what was envisioned by former presidential candidate Ross Perot. Do you remember the gentleman?
Yes.
Ross Perot.
Yeah, the guy who is probably responsible for Clinton having won.
Yes, and the e-town halls. His concept or idea or ideology of getting the people to bring up the issues and vote on those issues, so really, For example, when I asked you earlier, what's bothering in your community, and you say, oh, you have an issue with family court judges, how they are not in touch with reality, right? So how do we do that? The solution is we go around, ask the people, and using the system, use a local broadcasting station, have a community. It's about open communication, right? So have a community voice, and when you want an issue raised, comes up on your television, kind of like public television, and then you have a phone number and a PIN number attached to it. So it'll be issue number 125 or something. In this district, Mike Lee thinks that family court judges need more education and they are removed from reality. Here are the issues. Then every week we have a certain amount of people who will vote on that, and when it's a very democratic system, and it's doable. It's very, very doable, but it's not being done. Why? I mean, people can go online, HSN, and buy online, and we have telecommunications is so advanced. We are capable of doing incredible amounts of things, but we cannot get our voting technique and mechanics right. There's a lot of fraud.
There's a lot of fraud.
There's a lot of fraud in there. You know why?
You ever met? I should be ashamed of myself. Laura Presley.
I have not.
She's a voter. Works very hard in terms of on the issue of voter integrity.
Yes.
Integrity of the voting system.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has a cell phone. All you need to do is, give people a particular unique identifier phone number, and a unique identifier PIN. Everybody has a voter's registration. It's very easy. We don't have to do this in paper format. We don't have to have so much secrecy around votes, because then it's real clarity on what are the issues, what need to be resolved, and then the people tell the legislators, these are our problems in our community, and these are the problems that need to be fixed. And then the legislators, who are not just leaders, they have to be servant leaders, and they say, okay, community, thank you for electing me. It is my honor to serve you. These are the things that we will provide a solution to. Everybody says, oh, Medicare for all, and this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. They promise
free
a lot
this,
of things.
Free
that. And then they promise a lot of things, and it goes in 1 year with the constituents, listen 1 year, listen to another. And it goes out the other. You know why? Because everybody knows that these people are not motivated to do anything for the people.
Well, I know that.
Yeah.
It's my theory that Trump was elected because neither the Republicans nor the Democrats were doing anything. And the Republicans and the Democrats were in cahoots just to keep the system jacked up, I think.
Yeah.
They didn't want anything done.
Yeah.
And the fact he's trying to get some things done, they can't stand that. And so Trump wasn't popular with the Republicans. He used to be a Democrat.
Trump's a interesting
Okay.
person in his own
And
category.
What Trump actually did was really a hostile takeover of the Republican Party.
Pretty much, like an entrepreneur, yeah.
And which is kind of what Bernie was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But as you see, everybody's coalescing and going against Bernie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But because they're trying to protect they're engaged in they're protecting their turf, their territory now.
Yeah.
They're getting territorial.
It's all about the money. It's very
Yes.
simple. You follow the money trail, whether it's the child support Title 40 program, whether it's family law attorneys, judges, whatever it is, pharmaceuticals, intervention of psychologists and
Right.
psychiatrists in family law.
All the family law professionals are getting their palms raised.
I just did a quick interview with a gentleman by the name of Lee Spiller from Citizens Commission of Human Rights, and they call them the mental health mafia. Literally, a licensed professional counselor or psychologist can come into family court, sit down, and make a judgment of you, can write something up, and in 4 pages, a child can be taken away from a parent. I mean, this is serious stuff, So we need to hold these people accountable. And if I were to, win the race, and if I were to be in office, I'm going to try to make some changes.
Now, one of the things I thought, because of
Not try. I'm
I
going to
had
make some changes.
ridiculous ruling in a family law case in Harris County.
Yeah.
And I was in the hallway when I thought this. I thought, wait a minute. This is a public, everything that happens here is public record.
Mhm.
It's public. Anybody can walk in.
Mhm.
And I got to thinking, why don't they have cameras? And there was a sign when I went in the courtroom in Caldwell a couple of weeks ago. It had something about taking your cell phones. I thought, wait a minute, this is a public place. Why can't they just record what goes on? That way you can see what these people that you're voting for, you can see what they're doing.
Yeah. That's actually a very
And
good idea.
they could record that and save it, and it wouldn't take a whole lot.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even take like a 6-acre mainframe like the CIA had at one time in D.C.
Right.
It wouldn't take that much.
Right. But where's the benefit in it?
But everything is shrouded in secrecy.
It is.
And to me, that's
Secrecy,
the problem.
gag orders.
But see,
a lot of these unethical judges are criminals. They really are. It's not borderline. They alter evidence. They're in cahoots with court reporters, and what you
Mhm.
say is not what's on paper. The therapist who actually did a forensic psychological evaluation on me, I recorded the entire conversation because I'm a cop's daughter, and Texas is a one-party state, so I'm allowed to record the session. He didn't know that.
yeah.
And what he said and what came out as a diagnosis were two entirely different things. And this is just me as an example, but this has happened to several mothers and fathers. There is no transparency at all in family court. And it is a real shame because we are literally shooting ourselves in the foot because our children are going through. You see a child come out of a trauma situation. I mean, what happened in Sandy Hook? We're going to have people like that, mentally disturbed people. In fact, National Association of Mental Illness, NAMI, says that the number one problem in our country is mental illness.
So we're making our children crazy.
We're making ourselves crazy.
We're mistreating them.
Yeah. You know, you have your sunglasses on.
Huh?
I think I might do the same.
You got yours.
I think I might. I mean, I gotta.
Somebody think we're a bunch of communists.
Why not?
Now, who's on your team?
Do you mind?
Yes.
There we go. All
I
right.
might take mine off now. now they say we're both crazy.
I have to stick to the style, standards of your show.
Yeah, except you got hair. Yeah, that's no fair.
Thank you.
I'd have to do this. I'm not doing that because it's cold. I tell people at the courthouse I wear hats a lot of times. And I tell
This is
people
funny.
at the courthouse to say, it's hair serves a purpose, and that's why I wear my hat because it's a little cool. When I first got my hair, she had head shaved. I said, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's cool for real. Actually,
keeps
cool.
your head cool when you go into court. On the court.
If it gets too hot, I'm gonna start sweating. Sweat just runs down when I eat spicy food.
Yeah.
But so you came here from India when?
2002. 7/7/2003. In fact, I have a very interesting document to show you. I came to this country. This is my foreign exchange rate. You see that here? Do you see the date I landed here? 7703.
Yes, 7702.
7703, right?
03.
What's the exchange rate here? Can you tell me how many dollars I have?
You had 4,055.27.
That's $4,455 and
Right.
4,455.27 rupees.
27 cents. Right.
That is $93.50. That's what I came.
Here.
Yeah, that's what I came to this country, to New York, with. I had a full scholarship to go to New York Film Academy. Couldn't afford to finish that, so I got my work permit through a sponsored through a boutique finance company. So I went into finance. Then I moved to the Wall Street area, and then.
I represent an amazing Indian woman in a divorce case.
Yeah.
And I say amazing because She had a PhD. She had a PhD in, I forget what Miss PhD was in.
Mm-hmm.
But in connection with representing her, I read a little bit about the culture, which made me realize how much of a accomplishment she had made, because the deck and the odds were really stacked against her.
In India, we lay a lot of emphasis on education. That is why our country is, we have a lot of doctors, a lot of engineers. We're a very educated country.
Mhm.
From the milkman to the CEO, everybody speaks English. Of course, the accent may be thick, it may be different, but everybody speaks English. The medium of instruction in schools is English. I'm very proud to be a U.S. citizen. This is my country. I love the United States, but I'm also Indian at heart. No, India does not offer dual citizenship
they don't?
anymore. No,
Okay.
no, it does not.
Okay.
I kind of like this style. We're looking pretty good.
What's
This is the first time I'm wearing sunglasses. I feel like I'm on a fashion talk show, you know.
So what do you want to accomplish as a legislator if you were elected?
The number one thing that I'd like to accomplish is actually implement the one voice now, because that is a system of open communication that is giving the voice back to the people. So even if I'm not in office anymore, it is a system, it's an infrastructure set in place. There's transparency on how judges are elected, legislators are elected, city council, everybody at the local and district level. So that is my number one priority. Because what is important to me may not be the priority on your list. But as a legislator, you have to pay attention to every community, every pain point in the community, not just the school districts, but also parks. I'm pro cautious legalization of marijuana because I think
You
that
say cautiously?
cautiously, I think we have to be cautious.
Is that because you think it's a gateway drug, so to speak?
I've been told that, and also, if someone has a mental illness, it doesn't matter if you give them a box of donuts or you give them marijuana, they are going to, or a machine gun, they are going to be a liability to society. So I think the
If
number
you give them
one.
marijuana, you may need a box of donuts later when they get the munchies.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes. So as a legislator, I think a future, if I do get into office, whether I get into office or not, my goal is to promote this open communication system called One Voice Now, OVN, and make Texas a case study for other states to implement this. And eventually, we are going to have our country back. The people are going to have our,
So
their
when you
voice
did
back.
the nonprofit,
Yes, sir.
how long did you do that?
About a year and a half. It took a serious toll on me. You see all this white hair? It's from that.
I told you I cannot comment on hair.
That's true.
I decline to comment on
But
hair
I can.
because I don't have any. Wait, I may have a couple
Yeah. Yeah.
little,
Yeah.
couple of overnight shadows back here. That's about it.
Yeah.
But I looked at you. You said it's marijuana legalization,
Mm-hmm.
and but my thing is, we talk a lot about the children.
Yes. Our biggest resource.
But we talk.
Yeah.
We need to do.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Because I don't know that we do children a disservice by trying to recast what happened in history.
Right.
I don't know that we help them that way. I don't know that we help them by setting bad examples for them politically, economically, or otherwise. And I think in a lot of ways that's happened. I know one of the things I read that you were interested in was the universal. It's like a baseline amount
Yes, it's
of money that people should get.
it's called universal basic income.
Right.
It is a concept that was promoted by Andrew Yang, who was
Right.
a presidential candidate. He dropped out of the race,
Or
but
one of the many.
one of the many. And although there are certain parts of that system that I am in alignment with, I don't think that people want handouts. Just saying, if you're 18 years old and a U.S. citizen, you get $1,000 a month.
Just couldn't take it, huh?
I'm sorry, I don't have your swag. Well, you know what? I'll do it. I'll do it. We're, yeah.
Is it universal
Base income.
base income?
Yeah.
UBI.
If you are according to Mr. Yang's plan, if you are 18 years old and you're a U.S. citizen, then you get $1,000 a month. To me, that sounds great, but at the same time, I think we're going to create a breed of lazy people. So what I'm thinking, in our district, we have about 178,000 people in constituents in District 48. What if we were to say, okay, a nice merger of this plan and also kind of like a guaranteed volunteer voucher system. So if you're over 18 and you reside in the district and you're a U.S. citizen, then if you're unemployed or a single mom or somebody in between jobs or someone who's philanthropic, right? Let's say we need the Shoal Creek cleaned up, or we need somebody to come and volunteer at the family shelter, help with homeless people, any kind of social good. If we can create a point system and people actually get paid money to do that, then you know what? Then doing good becomes profitable. I got that idea when I ran my nonprofit, is because I literally ran through my savings and I was paying literally money to help families, and certain families didn't pay me, and we ended up doing a little barter system.
Right.
But unfortunately, and you don't want to, they're already going through so much difficulty, and I didn't want to burden them even more. And I said there must be a way to make doing good profitable. If doing good becomes profitable, or at least a way to earn income, then more people will be doing good. You know what I mean? So I'm still talking to an economist. I'm still talking to some very smart financial minds that I know on how best to do it and how to keep it running, where we have a volunteer system. Say you do certain things for your society or this district or this community, you get certain gold stars, you get awards, and you get a paycheck. Oh, I mean, I don't know about you, but I would love to do that.
Well, when I was in law school, I put in my 60 hours for the week. I saw it on Fridays. On Friday, I used to always wonder, there should be a check at the end of this, all this suffering I've been going through all week. But there wasn't. There was never one there.
Suffering.
And so I think a lot of lawyers try to make up for it when they get into practice, though.
Yeah.
All the suffering that you went through.
Yeah.
What was your background in? Economics or what?
Bachelor's of Business Management.
Business management?
In India. And then I did a small investment banking course. I studied for the CFP, but I did not take Certified Financial Planner, but I did not take the exam.
Is that over there or over here?
Here, everything. Okay. Here. I just did my bachelor's in India. And then I got a commodity trader's license, and I worked for a short, brief amount of time at the Sears Tower in Chicago for a trading company. That was not fun.
What
at
happened?
all.
Did the winter run you out of there?
No, not just that. I love Chi-Town. I mean, I lived one block from Buddy Guy's Legend, so I love the blues and I enjoyed that. But man, it's cold. Chicago is cold. And plus, I decided to start a petroleum distribution company, an oil and gas company. And what better state to be in than Texas, for oil and gas.
It might not be a good idea in Illinois. Maybe Ohio.
Yeah.
Because Ohio used to produce a lot of oil before the big thing blew in Texas, before the spindle top blew.
Yeah.
Yep. Ohio used to do a lot of oil. That's why Standard Oil used to be based.
Yep, Standard Oil. My company was called Four Sisters Petroleum.
How'd you pick that name?
Because there are 7 major oil companies, right? And they started merging with each other, and they all are derivatives of the Standard Oil Company, the Rockefellers. And they're merging with each other and, things like that. And they were casually called as the 4 sisters of oil instead of the 7 sisters of oil. And I'm one of 3 sisters. So I said, and my best friend, who was Native American Mohawk, she and I, I started the business supplying fuel to gas stations on Native American tribes in upstate New York. So we were 4 of us. My 2 sisters were not involved in the business, but, it was just a play on the name. But I'm no longer in the oil business. I don't subscribe to that. I think we have to be careful about our footprint on this planet. We cannot be trashing where we live. And I think oil and gas is kind of out of style now, not hip anymore. What's hip is Tesla. What's hip is OpenAI for, renewable resources and electric cars and things like that.
Yeah. I just want to go fast enough, or if the battery's strong enough.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I think it goes really fast.
Yeah.
I test drove a Tesla X, a couple of years ago, but because of family court, I ended up
George
not
said
having.
one thing that was pretty. He said we're addicted to oil.
Yeah.
And it's an addiction that will probably. I think it will pass. I don't know if it'll be in my lifetime, but
Yeah, no,
I'm pretty sure it'll pass.
I'm not so sure about that. If you don't mind, I might disagree with that. I think in Texas, it's very interesting, is because the Texas Railroad Commission is the one who's
they regulate oil and gas. Yeah.
Exactly, and them and the car companies are buddies. They have a buddy system. Hence, we have no public transportation in Texas like other states have. You don't have a good bus system. You don't have a good railway system. Everybody has to have a car.
I don't know that there's really that strong commitment to do that.
No, there isn't.
And when I look at our country and I look at Europe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think of if they had high-speed rail from Dallas to Houston, from Dallas to Austin, from Dallas to San Antonio, you could live in San Antonio and work in Dallas.
You never know. Mr. Elon Musk is planning to do the Hyperloop and get you
there's
in.
Not a. I don't know that there's a kind of foresight.
Yeah.
When I think of things like that, I think of let's say the subway system in New York.
Yeah.
Whoever, I think at one point they were separate systems and they eventually hooked them all up. But I lived in D.C. for a time, and that transportation system there is just incredible.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't know why that they haven't tried to duplicate that all
Because
over
of
the
the oil
country.
companies and the car companies, the buddy system. So everybody has to have a big pickup truck, a gas guzzler, because we're from Texas, I almost went and bought a pickup truck myself, and I said, nah, I don't think so. Yeah.
Well, I think it takes foresight, vision, and commitment.
And motivation.
And I don't see a lot of imagination and daring in terms of the politicians that I do know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, let's take it slow and go with what we've been doing.
I mean, for example, my incumbent in District 48, she's a Democratic candidate. She's been in office, lovely lady. I've sat with her on and met her in multiple events like the United Nations events for women, and very active at events. Wonderful woman, Donna Howard is her name, and she's been in office since 2006, unopposed. This is for the longest time. And the really interesting thing is I'm a pretty persistent, active person. And after I started my nonprofit, I knocked on her door at the Capitol, even went to the Capitol multiple times, tried to schedule a meeting, and I said, look, there's something going on in family court. I went to Texas Children's Commission with Honorable Judge Darlene Byrne presiding, and I said, look, I'm your worker person. Put me on your payroll, because literally, I don't mean literally, but I know what's going on with these families. I'm talking to them. There are certain judges, a handful of judges, not all, a handful of judges are just, just creating so much havoc in
They're
the
just
lives.
bad.
They're just bad. They're just bad. They're bad judges.
Talk straight.
Exactly. I mean, they're inhuman. Really, they're totally removed from reality. They do not. It really, all that matters to them is money, right?
Let me
So
tell
I
you-
did approach Ms. Howard's office, and I couldn't get a meeting as a constituent.
Mhm.
And I said, the whole point of having, a state representative is, as an individual residing in her with a pretty open, active voice like me, if I cannot get a meeting with her, then how is a normal person going to be able to talk and explain their pain points?
I want to share with you why I say what I say about some of the judges.
Yes, sir.
Is some years ago when I was practicing in Southeast Texas,
Mm-hmm.
I had a judge. I represented a guy in a divorce case, which was unusual for me. I usually represented women,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to a temporary hearing.
It was an
And
ex parte TRO or just a
I
temporary?
went to temporary hearing, and the guy's wife had moved out, got her own apartment,
Mm-hmm.
had a girlfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and just left him with 2 teenage kids.
Well, that's abandonment.
And we went to a temporary hearing, and the judge ordered the guy out of the house and ordered the wife to go back, and did not order the man to pay child support, which baffled me. And so I left the courthouse. I'm going down the elevator, leaving. My client's happy because he doesn't have to pay child support. But I'm riding down the elevator. I'm wondering what in the world just happened.
Twilight Zone.
No, because you're
You know
supposed.
what? You don't need to
you're
see the
supposed
TV
to-
show. Just
it's-
go into Texas Family
On
Court.
TR, I thought it was supposed to be the least
Yeah.
disturbing thing for
Yeah.
the kids.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
And I rode down the elevator with my client, walk out. I'm still wondering what the world happened
Yeah.
and why.
Yeah.
And so I was confused, and I like to know
Mm.
how judges look at things so I can tell clients in advance what to prepare for.
Right. Right.
And so I went to my car, and it bothered me, so I said, well, let me go ask. So I went back up to the judge and said, I wasn't challenging him, I was just like, well, and my thing was like, why did you do what you did? You know? And he said to me, I wanted the man to see what it was like to have to leave the house.
What?
And I thought to myself,
Excuse me. Can you
that's
say
not-
that again?
he said he wanted the dad to know what it was like to have to leave the house.
Interesting.
And I thought to myself, that's not legal reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
That's madness.
Yeah. Based on what evidence?
And so
facts?
I went out. There was an older lawyer at the time,
Mm.
Terry. I went to talk. I said, Terry, this just happened on TRO. I don't understand this. And when I went to talk to the judge, she got mad at me.
Hmm.
Like I was questioning his decision. I wasn't questioning his decision. I'm just trying to understand what happened. And
This is an interesting thing that I've observed because I still go to several courtrooms now and I observe and I take notes and I kind of like a trial monitor. I observe that.
Mhm.
A lot of judges are, I wouldn't say all, have some sort of mental illness. They're narcissists
You know what I learned about that judge?
or egomaniacs.
You know what I learned about that judge is
Yeah.
the older lawyer told me, I told them we shouldn't have that guy on the bench because he asked his wife, do you know what his background is? I said, no. What is it? He said, did you know when he was 12 years old, he ran away from home and joined the circus?
Oh.
And I thought to myself, and this man's a family court judge?
Well, there's nothing wrong in
Well,
joining a circus,
No,
Yeah.
but it's like he ran away from his family, and
Yeah.
what does he care about these people?
Yeah.
Because I just didn't understand what had happened.
It would be nice to have our judges do psychological evaluations to make sure that they actually are of sound mind if they're going to be ruling against families, in our community. I think it's important to know because the lives of children, we're sitting and talking here, but I've witnessed this. I have personally also experienced this where mothers and fathers are actually, they go into a state of shock. It's psychological warfare.
Yes.
In fact, there is a case of a father, a Jewish father by the name of Yari Kaplan, He was so distraught. We don't know what happened, but he went home, shot his
Is that the one that shot his
daughter and himself.
shot his daughter and killed himself?
Yes, sir. But not all judges are like that. There are a handful of really good judges, but their voices are not being heard because the bad ones, you know, this we discussed. The bad ones
I
are
just wonder how
more
a judge,
aggressive.
I just wonder how a judge who made a ruling like that led something like that. I just wonder how they sleep at night.
I don't think they do. I think
And
they
I
just
wonder-
drink and.
I wonder who they pray. I wonder who they pray to.
I
mean,
I'd rather not say that.
Themselves or what?
Possibly.
I mean, what's really going on?
It's really all about the money. There's nothing personal. Whoever can pay can buy justice. Handful
And
of judges.
that's why I heard the term money whipped a few weeks ago, and I thought
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen to you, did it? You got money whipped too?
No, I was smart enough right in the beginning to go pro se, and I tried to save as much as possible. But I had to sell my lake house. I had to sell everything that I owned, and it was.
Well, eventually you had to get a lawyer.
Then no, I did not get. I
Never
did have.
did?
I got a criminal defense attorney because of the GPS ankle monitor thing.
Sheesh.
Yeah. It's an interesting. It's an interesting ride. Although I believe that this has been a blessing within a curse. Thanks to this, I have found my purpose. I have to make a difference. I cannot sleep at night unless I know that I'm moving forward, trying to make a difference, trying to help. Even if I help a few families, a few children, I'm fine. I'm good.
Okay. Well, that was my idea when I became a lawyer. I said,
Yeah.
if I can make a difference in one person's life, it will have been worth it.
Yes.
I thought that.
Yeah. It's true.
But that 3 years of torture, I say that, but boy, it's not easy to say
Yeah.
because that was a tough 3 years.
I can imagine.
No, you can't. No one can imagine. And that's why when someone asks me, if someone asks me about going to law school, I tell them, I'm not a person that you really want to talk to about that because I don't have anything.
I considered going to law school,
else to say
but
about it.
I decided I do not want to be part of the system.
Sanity took over?
Sanity took over. I do not want to be part of the system. No, I'd rather affect